Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jason Grinnell with Paessler. We're going to be talking about monitoring industrial IT as well as OT with our PRTG monitoring product today. To start out, I want to thank Wincom for having us today. They're one of our gold partners. They sell a lot of our PRTG licensing and also are able to provide quite a lot of professional services around PRTG as well. But in case you're not familiar with us, we've been around for 23 years, going on 24, and our focus has always been on IT infrastructure monitoring, basically the health monitoring of your critical infrastructure, such as your servers, your VMs, your switches, your firewalls, making sure that you're proactively being alerted when there are issues with anything within your critical IT infrastructure so that you can fix it before your boss or one of your customers is calling you and telling you that something is not working. Recently, we've been making some big leaps and bounds into monitoring IoT, specifically manufacturing 4.0, industrial IoT. And that's what we want to talk to you about today. It's just kind of giving you an idea of the value that PRTG brings to your customers that may have industrial IoT out there and monitoring it with PRTG as well as their existing IT infrastructure as well. We are the only IT infrastructure monitoring software out there that also is able to monitor OT infrastructure. If you guys have any questions though as we go through, please put those in the chat and we'll answer those as we go through the presentation. After we wrap up today, I will get a list of all of the attendees from the Wincom team, and we'll be raffling off a $50 Amazon gift card as well as a PRTG backpack. So I'll make sure to send those out to the winners after our call today. Moving into the agenda itself, just to talk a little bit about what we'll be covering today. So you'll hear from myself just here at the beginning, as well as Christian Google. He is one of our global IoT business development managers. He kind of manages our overall strategy as it relates to industrial IoT. So he'll be kind of walking us through what industrial IoT looks like right now, as well as the value that PRTG brings when it comes to monitoring industrial IoT. So we'll just kind of talk a little bit about the industry as a whole, how we fit in, looking at like target audiences and users in case you're wondering, hey, who's this a fit for? Is this a fit for me, or do I have a customer that this could be a potential fit for? Also, the marketing and selling to those specific users, and then how to license and buy PRTG. These are things that the Wincom team is very adept at being able to assist with. And finally, we'll just wrap everything up with a Q&A session as well. But as we're able to, we'll answer questions as we're going through this presentation today. With that being said, I'm going to pass the baton over to Christian, and he'll kind of get into the meat of the presentation today.
Thank you, Jason. Let me introduce myself. My name is Christian Google. I work as a Global Business Development Manager for IIoT at Paessler with the headquarters in Nuremberg. So I'm sending right out from Germany. It's like 5 p.m. here. And when we go into the topic, first we have to look at the goals of industrial IT monitoring. Why should we do it? And we focus on your infrastructure. When you want to monitor it, of course, you want to save time. Everybody wants to save money. And all of us, we want to save our nerves because we want to guarantee everything is up and running. Therefore, we need a condition monitoring. We want to avoid downtime in our environments. We want to have a central alarming, and we want to optimize our networks. And last but not least, we want to make sure that all our critical services are available. I think it sounds pretty simple, but when we look at our mixed environments, which we have today, in the middle, we have our IT environments. On the left-hand side, maybe we have some building management systems, metrics from the building itself, like temperature, humidity. And on the right-hand side, with the topic as of today, industrial IT, we also have our production environment. So this can be our PLCs, HMIs, or data from IIoT sensors. So pretty complicated because we have 3 different segments which we have to bring in one solution. Of course, you can use proprietary monitoring solutions, but you most likely will end up in monitoring silos. So you would have maybe a monitoring solution for your HVAC system, another one for your PLCs, another one for your HMIs. And I think you can imagine it gets really complicated the more solutions you have. And considering this Tuesday, I think nobody of us wants to look at a central dashboard or several dashboards like we see on the screen right now, 9 different dashboards, but we only want to identify the root cause. Why do we have a problem in our environment? So therefore, we need a central monitoring solution. And central monitoring, it means it must be a solution which can monitor literally everything. So you see a lot of buzzwords. It starts always with the IT infrastructure. We have to monitor the network performance, application level. We have to monitor your most critical cloud services, your database, security systems. And of course, we have to integrate virtual environments, smart buildings, the shop floor, and your IoT sensors as well. How can we do that? So PRTG works agentless. You don't have to install any agents on the devices, which makes it very easy to integrate the solution. So we support all relevant protocols, such as SNMP, ping, JSON, WMI in the IT world, but we also integrated OT-specific protocols, such as Modbus TCP, MQTT, and OPC UA. And of course, you want to monitor everywhere. It's pretty easy when you monitor in your local network. So you can just pull the data agentless from the devices. It gets a little bit more complicated if you have several locations, several production environments, and on the lower left-hand side, your shop floor. Maybe you have a firewall in between, maybe you have a micro-segmented network there, but with PRTG, you have also a solution in your hand. You can install remote probes there. And a remote probe is not a physical device. It's just a 32-bit service running on a local machine in this network, gathering the data there and sending it back to your central PRTG core server, where you then can create your central alarming, your dashboarding, and of course, you can set up notification matrices as you need. So you really have a central solution, whether it's in your local network, on geo level, so you have several locations, or you have segmented networks, which you cannot pull the data directly from. So in this webinar today, we want to focus on data from the shop floor. So the data, where does it come from? It can be the PLC itself, the control level. It can be data derived from an OPC UA server. Or if you have smart sensors, you can also derive the data from energy sensors, valves, pumps directly. In the end, we want to have an overview. So we want to have a dashboard which can really provide a good overview about our machine. So this example would be the picture of a machine. You place your sensors there. All of our dashboards are fully customizable, so you can really detail it very easily. So you can also define the detail level you need. Monitoring, I already mentioned it. Notifications are very important. When something goes wrong, we want to get notified. Usually, we have a monitoring solution in place, so we have a condition monitoring. Everything is green, so it's a fine afternoon. But when something goes wrong, we want to get notified, and therefore we need several notification channels. PRTG offers you a text message. It can be an email. It's a Microsoft Teams integration. It can be we are launching a program itself, a script, or triggering an API call. So you name it. And we offer you also mobile apps, for example, for your iOS and Android device. So when something goes wrong on the shop floor, you just get a push alarm on your mobile phone, like in this picture. And here we see maybe the temperature sensor in the production environment has a battery low status. So we can just go there and fix it. And we have the status of our holistic environment always with us. Going back to the initial picture, so 3 environments. I've already promised, so PRTG is one solution which can cover it all, but how does it look like? And I brought one example of a dashboard. We call the dashboard Industry and IT. And you see on the left-hand side, you have your building technology. Of course, this is a little bit more a technical dashboard with some time series graphs. In the middle, we have our IT environment. And on the right-hand side, we have also the status of our production environment. So you can really bring all these three worlds together with PRTG on one dashboard. And I think it's clear what PRTG wants to do. We want to have it covered so you can really cover all these different environments. And hopefully, we want to save our nerves. We stay as relaxed as this PRTG admin. Monitoring industrial IT. Yeah, it's not very easy because what is industrial IT? It can be the IT infrastructure on your shop floor. But when we started, I think there's one buzzword we hear everywhere. It's IT-OT convergence. In IT-OT convergence, the topic itself, it's not only raised on the IT side, because when you look at different magazines, you also see it very often also raised from the OT side. Because when you want to enable data-driven business models, you have to get data from your OT devices, OT environments, and then, of course, you need to process it in the IT world. Therefore, you need to connect, and this is also complex because of security constraints. But let's have a look at the monitoring level. So in the IT side, I think Paessler did a very good job for the last 20 years. So 300,000 users already using PRTG to monitor their IT environments. On the OT side, yeah, well, sometimes it's different. Sometimes there is already monitoring in place. Sometimes, as we see on the picture, when something breaks, you have a downtime in your production and somebody has to go there and fix it. We think it would be quite smart if both teams can work together within one application, and this is why we extended the functionality of PRTG. So you can use one application to cover both environments. How do we do that? So when we look at this picture, we see IT-OT convergence, PRTG network monitor in the middle. Of course, we support to the left-hand side all relevant IT protocols. We have native sensors. It's roughly 290 sensors to cover the IT world. But we also extended the functionality, as I said, to the OT world. And therefore, to make it easier for you as a customer, we integrated the most relevant protocols or architectures, such as OPC UA, MQTT, and Modbus TCP. So you really can very easily connect to your OT world. You don't need protocol converters or gateways because we just integrated native sensors, which are in every license of PRTG. Often I get the question, okay, Christian, where do I start with my monitoring? It's a complex world. So we have the OT. We see here the automation pyramid or the Purdue model. So this is a theoretical approach to the OT. But I think it's also valid if we look, where do we start monitoring? If we start at level 0, this is our field level, where we usually have the sensors, actors. It's also a real-time critical environment. Usually I would say, okay, in the field level with the active monitoring, you wouldn't start. Otherwise, you have a retrofit. You have IoT sensors there, which support protocols like MQTT. So you can also get data from the field level. Usually, I would recommend start at the controlled level. There you have your PLCs, your programmable logic controllers, which are designed to communicate. And they support usually protocols or architectures like OPC UA and MQTT. So you can get the data from the control level to your IT monitoring. On the process control level, you usually have your SCADA system, your human machine interface. Well, we don't want to replace a SCADA, to be honest, but there's one buzzword which needs to be mentioned here. So what happens when your SCADA system is down? And we call it watching the watcher. So how can you make sure that your SCADA system is up and running? And maybe you want to consider a secondary alarming path beneath your SCADA. And this is, again, where PRTG comes in. And also, the IT-OT convergence means we can monitor all the IT relevant devices on the shop floor. We call it industrial Ethernet devices, such as your switches, your access points, your routers. And then we can provide the status for your SCADA system. So you can also integrate the IT part in your SCADA system as well. If you go to the next level, we are at the operation management level, where you usually find your MES system, your manufacturing execution system. And here we're already in the IT world. So these systems are designed to communicate. They're based on IT infrastructure. And this is definitely where PRTG can come in and monitor whether these services are up and running. And on top of this pyramid, we have the company level. It's our enterprise resource planning software, ERP system. It must communicate to the outside world. It's an IT system. So again, it's a story of IT monitoring here. And I think it gets also obvious, for sure, It's a little bit different on each layer, but PRTG is definitely the bracket where you can really achieve a holistic monitoring of your whole environment. And I think this is really something where you have a unique selling point for PRTG, because there's currently no other IT monitoring software which can also cover the OT world as well. Yeah, so we have a unique selling point. We are the only IT software. Let's speak about target audience. So who do we really target? Who's the user of our software? And what does he want to do in his environments? So we have these three gentlemen on top. This is our administrator, or our IT admin. It can be a factory IT admin, it can be the IT team lead, and usually IT drives the monitoring topic because the awareness is there. Maybe they have already PRTG in place. So this is definitely the driver of the topic. Second, we have our technician. This can be our smart factory engineer, our production systems engineer, and his goals and his daily job is avoid downtime in the production and establish a condition monitoring. So he wants to know what is the status of my production environment. Last but not least, we have the manager. It can be the IT infrastructure manager, project manager, and this is the person who drives the digitalization projects. And he has also a task. He needs to effectively meet production plans. So he needs to make sure that everything is up and running. And these are, brings me directly to the point. What are the challenges of our customers? For sure, it's a central monitoring system. We don't want to invest in several applications just to do one job, monitoring. We want to get alarmed very early so we can really prevent failures. Everybody wants to avoid production losses, obviously. And as we have seen also already some examples of dashboards, we want to have a single pane of glass. We don't want to look at 9 different dashboards just to find out the root cause. We want to have really one dashboard which can show an overall status. How do we know that? So before we approached or extend the functionality, we also asked our customers in several surveys, and I brought 2 examples. We call it the Modbus TCP and the OPC UA survey. So we start with Modbus. So what are the key figures? So we asked our customers, what are you planning to monitor with our new Modbus when our new Modbus TCP sensor is released? And very surprisingly, you usually would think, okay, Modbus TCP, this is an industry protocol, but most of them, they focus on power energy equipment. So majority wants to monitor power energy equipment. On second, we have industrial machinery. And third, it will be data from the building automation. So what's really the focus? What they want to do is, because we asked some more questions, they want to monitor the HVAC system in their data center, in their industrial edge data center, maybe monitor the backup generator. And this is really where they want to use the Modbus TCP sensor. We also asked how many employees are working in your company in total. So this is more like a small, medium business or enterprise business. And the majority have like 50 to 250 employees. And now we want to know it exactly what type of industry are working in. And we see, I think it's very clear that the majority for the sensor came from the IT services and telecommunications. So we see Modbus TCP is really important when you want to monitor the HVAC systems in your data center. And this is exactly what is the use case for the sensor, or what the majority of our customer wants to do with the sensor. For OPC UA, it looked different. So again, we asked, what are you planning to monitor with our new OPC UA sensor? And here we have a different picture. Majority wants to monitor industrial machinery. Second is process technology. And on third, we have power energy equipment. So this is very interesting for us. So we see OPC UA is definitely the protocol or architecture stack you need to use when you want to monitor industrial machinery. We also ask how many employees are working in your company in total. And we see majority is 3,000 more employees. So we are definitely in the enterprise segment with OPC UA. And let's double check it. What type of industry are working in? And now it gets interesting because IT services and telecommunication, it's going down to 2. Majority is in manufacturing and construction, followed by food and beverage, followed by factory automation. So we see OPC UA is an interoperability standard in the OT. It's really the key or the door opener to the OT world. Therefore, we integrated it in PRTG, and you have a native protocol support to connect your OT side as well. some quotes from the surveys as well. So for Modbus, what do you want to monitor? Could be valves, pressure, or anything from analog and digital sensors. We also have another opinion. Yeah, various air conditioning devices. I already mentioned or spoiled the HVAC systems. And yeah, power quality meters connected via Modbus gateways. This is also something where you want to monitor how much energy you are consuming. And this is also where Modbus comes in quite handy. We also have some examples from OPC UA. But now it's a little bit different. So for OPC UA, it's about detecting the long-term degeneration of equipment. So you can really see whether something goes wrong, in the wrong direction. Another answer would be, was any type of industrial devices, such as PLCs, flow meters, engines. So this is also where OPC comes in. And yeah, this would help greatly in early alerting of issues and troubleshooting connections. So this is really the key for the OT. Make sure the OT environment is up and running, and therefore you can use the OPC UA. I will show you later on in our live demo some more examples of what you can actually do with the sensors. Where do you find more information? When you go to our homepage, we have a specific solution page set up for industrial IT monitoring. So you can download our software. You can also request to talk to an expert if you need more information. You can also download our specific product brochure. So you have all the insights you need on how to use PRTG and for monitoring industrial IT environments. And we have a constant flow of blog articles, ranging from cybersecurity, deep packet inspection, passive monitoring, hardware behind industrial Ethernet and industrial gateways, just to mention some of these blog articles. So make sure you subscribe and look up regularly for our blogs, because you get some more deep dives into the topic. Use cases. So we know, okay, blogs, topic is really hot, we need to use it, but our use cases, how can I do that in my environment? So for the use cases, I brought one, and this is definitely the industrial edge data center. Because you have in the racks, you have IT equipment, you have humidity for your building technology, air conditioning systems, UPS systems, backup power generators, and building technologies. Everything needs to be monitored. You don't want to use like 3 or 4 different applications to do so. Just use PRTG. So you really have it covered within one application, and it makes it really easy and convenient to do so. Another interesting point is retrofitting, because when we look at retrofitting for this use case, we also confronted with the terms Greenfield versus Brownfield. So Greenfield is a new building, and I also brought some examples for that. So for Greenfield, we have new factories being built, fully digitalized, ideal situation. Unfortunately, this is not the reality. The reality, we have it on the right-hand side. We are faced with the average age of machines, like 15 to 20 years. We are at the beginning of the digital transformation. We need to really have like IoT sensors added to the machines, make them smart to enable them for data-driven business models and make decisions based on this data. And to do so, we also have to make sure that the infrastructure is able to handle the traffic. Because when you have more data, bigger data flow in your industrial IT network, you also have to make sure, can you deliver the data in real time? Can you handle the amount of traffic? So really make sure that you can upload the data to the cloud when you use several cloud services. And this is definitely where holistic monitoring like PRTG comes in. You need to monitor the infrastructure, make sure you can handle the traffic, and then you can start your retrofitting project. And looking at the slides, I think I'm always a friend of showing something. So let's have a look at our PRTG live demo environments, so I can show you some examples of you can actually implement the solution. So what we see right now is the HX web interface of PRTG. It's a start screen. And of course, with PRTG, we have a device tree. You see, a lot of devices. So we have roughly 5,000 sensors in our demo environment, all live gear up and running here in the headquarters in Nuremberg. But let me start with a story. I told you we have a single pane of glass. This is what we have. And on this Tuesday, let me tell the story of a company. And the dashboard may look like this. So this is a company, it has a website, it produces something which has to be shipped. So we start on the left-hand side on the customer portal. So in the customer portal, we can make sure that our website is up and running. Of course, the customer needs to log in. He needs to press the buy button. So we have an order. We need to check our mail server is up and running. Our storage system is available. Network internet connection must also be available so we can really get the orders coming in. Corporate IT in the middle. Of course, we need a corporate IT. We need to make sure that our virtualization layer is up and running, our operating systems up and running, domain controller, firewall, internet connection as well. But now comes the part, why did we extend PRTG? Because now you can add your production logistics environment. You can check whether your ERP system is functional, your MES system. You can also check whether your OPC UA server is up and running. If you use MQTT, you should definitely have an eye on your MQTT broker. Security, make sure your IDS, your intrusion detection system is up and running, your industrial control system, your ICS. Finally, the already mentioned industrial Ethernet devices, your switches, routers, firewalls, and access points. And when we want to ship something, yeah, we need a shipping label. So why not integrate the printers as well in our monitoring? And I think when we look at this dashboard, everything is green. It's not a bad day to make business today. For our PRTG demo, so let's look a little bit on sensor level. So what we see right now is a native sensor in PRTG, so our cloud HTTP sensor. So we can monitor a website from several locations worldwide, so we can make sure the website is operational. And if we have a specific team taking care about this website, we can already create a specific dashboard for this team. So this could be an example of an web server dashboard. So this is for a technical focused team taking care about the website, about the web server, and about the related services like database, SQL statistics. Of course, we connect to the cloud. We need to use cloud services. This can be our AWS services, our CloudWatch, which we want to integrate in PRTG as well. And of course, we can also add our Microsoft 365 services so we can really see whether our cloud services are operational. Virtualization is also a big topic. I brought one example with me because virtualization is also something which you will see more often in the OT as well. Just think about industrial edge data centers, and PRTG supports not only VMware, which we see on the screen, it also supports Hyper-V, Nutanix, and Citrix as well. So you have native sensors, and again, it's a one view. You have all the information in PRTG. Going down to the infrastructure layer, I brought an example of a Cisco Nexus switch, and we see here the system health. Yeah, everything is green. The switch is operational. But hey, let's have a look at the traffic, because I mentioned, okay, data-driven business models, additional traffic, and what could be, why should I monitor it? I think the example of the Armons is pretty interesting, because when you use a cloud service like AWS, you have a real-time service in the cloud, your MES system, and then you have a gap in your time series graph. So you want to know the root cause. So what happened? Why do I have a gap in my time series? Maybe there was a packet loss already on the infrastructure level. And this is why you should monitor it. And this could be a good example. Maybe you already had a collision there, a CSC error, jabbers, or you have oversized packets. So by monitoring it, you can really pinpoint the root cause. You have everything in PRTG. And when you want to review the data, you just literally click on live data. So we render a time series graph for you. You can review it, quite stable, so it doesn't look bad. And you say, well, Christian, yesterday there was a problem. How can I review the data? So just go on the historic data, because PRTG stores all the data in their own database. And let's create a report for yesterday. So let's start. And it's pretty easy, the reporting, because it's integrated in PRTG as well. And I cannot even speak that fast. The report is already being rendered. You have it on the screen, so you can also review data from the last day, last week, last month. But let's go more to the OT side. And I mentioned already the HVAC systems. I brought another sensor with me. It's the Modbus TCP custom sensor, which you can see in the info box on the right-hand side. And with this sensor, you can monitor literally every Modbus TCP register or holding register and retrieve the data. And for this one, it would be the HVAC system. And I think the interesting point is we've seen sensors and they all look the same. So even when we switch to the OT, it's the same look and feel in PRTG. So it's not a difference. It doesn't feel weird. It's another environment. It's the same look and feel. You have the same, you have the same graphs, you have the same gauges, and you have also lookups for that. So you can also say, okay, what was the problem with my air conditioning system? Maybe it's a drain level system error. So this is something I might fix myself. I just go there and empty the tank. But when I have another thing, it's like an overcurrent of an AC input. It's important for me as an admin, because with the overcurrent of an AC input, I wouldn't fix it myself. I would rather inform our electrician, hey, you should go there. The air conditioning system is not running. It may lead to overheating of our industrial cabinet. Hey, you should fix it. So you can really pinpoint the root cause by monitoring it. And this is why we extended the functionality. MQTT, in this example on the right-hand side, it's the MQTT subscribed custom sensor. And this sensor can represent 5 metrics. You see it on the gauges here. And this can be data, in this example, from the production line, like temperature, gas, humidity, or pressure. You can also set the thresholds, like a warning state or error level, as you need. So you can really use the MQTT sensor to subscribe to any topic. Of course, you can also review the live data there. And you can really now connect to your retrofitted sensors based on MQTT, integrated in your IT monitoring, and you can just work with it like with any other sensor in PRTG. I think, as I showed you, OPC UA is really the big deal. When you go to the OT environments, it's like really the interoperability standard. Therefore, we integrated a specific sensor type. It's the OPC UA server status, because I think it's very obvious that when you want to enable communication, you need to make sure the most important part is working. And this is definitely the server status. So we can show everything is green, no need to check further. But we can also pinpoint the warning states, whether there was a shutdown or it was failed a request, or we have a communication fault. On the other hand, we can also maybe do some, or address some security concerns, because we can monitor the session count. When you run usually like 4 OPC UA sessions in your network, and now you have 7, you should be aware of that, because there are 2 connections you are not aware of, and you should really find out, okay, who's connecting to my devices. Same on the other side. When you have usually 4 connections, now you have only 3, you should get an alert. You should be aware that 1 connection failed, and you can instantly react. Also, you can see, or we can represent the security rejected sessions. I think it's also very important that you get this data so you can really pinpoint issues in your production environment. Let's go a little bit further on the shop floor. Therefore, we also integrated an OPC UA custom sensor, and this custom sensor can really connect to any node ID in the OPC UA namespace. You just have to define the node ID, and then we can pull the data. In this example, we have 5 metrics available. And I brought an example from the shop floor, can be the speed of a conveyor, a count of a production line, power consumption, voltage mains. So you can really now retrieve the data from your OT environment. You don't need a gateway, because PRTG supports the OPC UA. And another OPC UA sensor is the OPC UA certificate sensor. Again, it's a security related topic, and the sensor only 3 metrics, so it doesn't look like very complicated. So why should I monitor my OPC UA certificates? I think the return on invest is easily explained. When you use OPC UA certificates in your environment and they run out, they expire, your production cannot communicate any longer, and it will stop. So I think the return on invest is easily explained, and PRTG is currently the only monitoring tool which has a native OPC UA certificate in each and every license of PRTG. So we had a look now, several sensors where you can retrieve data from, but what about dashboards? Again, we want to have a single view. We don't want to scroll around specific tabs, review every metric on its own. So let's have a look at some dashboards again. In this example, this can be an example of a factory floor machine monitoring dashboard, where you have your most relevant or most important time series. You have some status information, so everything is operational, or you have any problems, so you can easily review it. Another example could be for your smart gateways. For smart gateways, it's not only about monitoring whether this gateway is up and running, it's also about monitoring your private cloud uplink. So is this gateway really able to send data to your cloud provider like Azure, IoT, or AWS? So you really need to make sure that you can reach this cloud provider. So we see it on the right-hand side. So we have a sensor, it's a cloud ping sensor, so you can very easily detect any issues, or you have longer times to connect. So this is really, I think, a crucial point which you should consider if you use any cloud-based specific or special programs or applications or services in the cloud. For the industry itself, industrial cabinets. I mentioned it already with the industrial edge data center. So industrial cabinet, can be very easy. This can be a view for your customer. Everything is green, so there's no need to review more detailed information. But for a technician, it might be too less information. Therefore, PRTG offers you the map fully customizable and interactive. So we just click on the industrial cabinet. They are interactive. So let's open it. Let's look inside the cabinet and see what's going on here. And here you have another picture. So you see your industrial cabinet with a picture on the left-hand side, so with the specific sensors. On the right-hand side, we can also review our air conditioning system. This example would be a Blue E+. We can also review if all internal sensors are available, the voltage. We can also monitor whether our DCS system is operational, if we have connectivity to the cloud, if our power system and UPS system is operational, and if we have any alarms coming in. So I think this is a very good overview. Of course, it's more technical, but this is really something where you can easily pinpoint any issues. And it really explains very well what PRTG is, because you can really define the detail level of your dashboards, fully interactive. When you have a problem, you just drill down. If not, if everything is green, hey, it's not a bad afternoon. Another example could be for your data center. Example was our industrial edge data center. How can it look like? So we have a floor plan. So we have a top view on the racks. Again, if everything is green on the rack, we don't have to look deeper. So we see from a top level view, everything is fine. Our cooling system, also with the time series, it's running within limits. Also fine. We see power is available. And on the operation, we see all our network devices are available. We can also have a sunburst view for our server hardware, storage, and virtualization layer. So really, again, you have a one view, single pane of glass, as I promised. And this is really where PRTG is really a powerful solution. Again, bringing both worlds together. So building technology, IT environment, and production environment. So this is, you can really, I think, now get a good picture of what PRTG can do for you. These dashboards are fully customizable because we think that every customer has a different demand, what he wants to see. We have seen it in the detail level. So if you just remember the first one we have seen with all the different statuses or business processes, and this is definitely something where PRTG comes in. So let me wrap it up. So what is PRTG? It's a holistic monitoring solution. We bring elements of IT and OT into one view. We want to reduce complexity and infrastructure costs because you just need one application. And we can make sure that your infrastructure is available. And this also brings me to my and our unique selling points for PRTG. And licensing is based on sensors. Other tools are licensed. The licensing is based on the number of users. We just base on the sensors you use in PRTG. We have predefined sensors for OT environments. I think it's also very clear that we are a cross-vendor solution. We have seen devices from each and every vendor right now, and we can show you all systems at a glance. And saying that, I think you're really interested now. Okay, Christian, now tell me more about the pricing. And saying that, I would like to hand over to Jason.
Thanks so much, Christian. Well, let's talk a little bit about like the licensing and pricing and how to purchase. So one thing that I think distinguishes us from a lot of our other monitoring colleagues is that our licensing is what we call full-featured, meaning there's no additional modules or add-ons to have to purchase. It's all included in one single SKU. Our licensing is done in bundles of sensors. So you can see it starts at 500 and goes up to an XL1 license. That's our unlimited license. It's good for about 10 to 12,000 sensors total. And these are perpetual licenses. So you buy it and it comes with 12 months of maintenance. You can also purchase with 36 or 60 months as well if you're interested. These are all available via Wincom. They can help you guys out with getting you some special pricing and putting together the quotes and placing the orders for you. They can also help when it comes to installing our 30-day free trial, getting you up and running, helping with any other kind of professional services that you guys may need. One other thing to kind of talk about here on the next slide is we have a PRTG enterprise license. This is our new subscription license, came out around 2 years ago or so, and it's a yearly 3-year or 5-year subscription. And this is really made for large organizations, multinational companies, people with multiple locations. It starts at 20,000 sensors and goes up from there. Some of the key features, though, are that it includes unlimited PRTG core servers, so you have a lot of flexibility when architecting your PRTG environment. You can have those installed at different data centers, at different locations, all in one place for different areas of the company. And it gives you our enterprise level NOC dashboard, which we call IT Ops board. That's a great aggregator of all of the PRTG core servers that you have deployed out there. Again, this is something that Wincom can assist you with as well. Normally there is some level of professional services associated with our enterprise license. With that being said, let's open it up for any kind of questions that we may have. I know I did get a question here earlier. Someone asked if we have government pricing. Yes, we do have special pricing for education, government, and charity organizations. That's something the team over at Wincom can assist with. Someone else had asked, let's see, who owns the customer? So from a customer standpoint, that would be something that you would basically own the customer yourself. On the PRTG side, we could assist with you, but the purchase would have to go through yourself and involve Wincom as well. It wouldn't be something where we would be looking to work directly with the customer. We'd always want to make sure our partners and Wincom were involved as well. Hopefully that answers your question. If not, feel free to reach out. Let's see. Someone asked, what is the price for PRTG Enterprise license? So the PRTG Enterprise license, it starts at 20,000 sensors. That annual cost is around about $17,000 per year. And that includes up to 20,000 sensors, unlimited PRTG core servers, and our IT Ops board. That's around about our commercial pricing for that product. We don't have it published because there's many different levels, because someone may need 20,000, someone else may need 80, another person may need 300,000. So to reduce the number of SKUs and prices that are on the website, it's all kind of custom quoted on our side as well. Someone asked, is there help available with creating custom dashboards? So yes, that is a professional service that we don't offer it, but that's something that the Wincom team could also assist with, is getting you, building custom dashboards or anything else, creating custom sensors that you may need. We have 300 native sensors, but sometimes people want to have their own custom ones, maybe for a very specific device or use case. Someone also answered the price you quoted. Is that the MSRP or the reseller cost? So everything that we've been sharing so far is all MSRP. So that's all the publicly facing pricing. To kind of get any type of reseller pricing, that's something you'd want to get with Wincom, and they can assist with getting you a custom partner quote.
Jason, I think that's it for the questions.
Okay, perfect. Well, if any other questions do pop up, please reach out to the Wincom team or myself. After I get the attendee list from Wincom, I will be doing a random number generated raffle, and we'll contact the winners for the $50 Amazon gift card as well as the PRTG backpack.
Great. Christian, thank you for presenting, and Jason, thank you as well. And everyone that joined us today, thank you for your time.
Great. Thanks so much, Elaine. Thanks, Christian.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.